Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I think the uniqueness of the Reggae Girls is they embody the national motto of Jamaica, which is out of many one people. So when you look at the entirety of the Jamaica squad, you have dark-skinned girls, mixed-race girls, girls who have black and Asian in them. You also have the homegrown players, so like your Bunny Shaw, your Konya Plummer, your Denden Blackwood. So what that means in terms of from a grassroots perspective is girls who are born in Jamaica can look at a Bunny Shaw and hear that authentic accent and say, you know, if Bunny can make it, then so can I. Once you hear that authenticity, that raw Jamaican accent, they should be able to look at a Bunny Shaw who's now our captain to say, if Bunny can do it, especially if you come from the same community, the same parish as her, if she can do it, then so can we.
I want to give a big bless up to the Reggae girls out there. They ain't believing us. John did. Reggae girls, keep winning, keep inspiring. I know you're going to be great out there, World Cup. Sadella Marley, nothing but love. Bless up from DJ Khaled.
And I'm representing for the Reggae girls. You know what I mean? Big up on yourself every time. Especially if you're qualifying for the World Cup back to back. You know what I mean? Sidela, big up yourself. One love every time. You know the thing go. Blessing off a flow like a river. Blessing off a flow like a river. What the Reggae girls do? Left them name night earth like a queen. Me have to big up the top soccer team. You know Massacre represent. Jamaica support you every time. You know the thing go.
Hello, I'm Hansi Parchment. You're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
I feel like I'm from UK, you know.
See the moonlights on the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Talawa TV is in the town. Whoa, I'm getting ready. Got a corner on the telephone. Yeah, this is the Ocean of the Messenger, and you're watching Talawa TV with the host and best. Steve Davis, take it away.
Hi, Talowers. How are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, possibly good morning. All depends on where you are in the world. You know how this one works, guys. Do let me know if you can hear my TV in the background. If at any point during the show that is, and I will go ahead and make the necessary adjustments. First and foremost, I do want to apologize to the guys who sat with me patiently into the early hours of the morning. I think my live stream last night finished at 5 a.m. UK time, that is. So it was a painful week for me. I didn't really get much sleep. But thank you for those of you who rocked it with me. Without you guys, that live stream definitely would not have been possible. So thank you to those of you who sat there waiting patiently with me for what at times felt like a tedious game, simply because we were all waiting for a goal. That's what we wanted. I did predict a 3-0 Jamaica or 3-1 Jamaica. So came close, but not quite. More importantly, the boys managed to get us over the line and secure those all important 3 points. So massive shout out again to those of you who sat with me this morning or last night. If you're in Jamaica, your support does not go unnoticed. If you are out and about, I do hope that you make it home safe and unharmed, because you know how it goes. Walking through your door these days is an absolute underrated blessing. Speaking of UK, if you're in the UK like myself, I hope you're holding up well. There was actually a little thunderstorm, rain and thunderstorm some hours ago. Sounded a little bit scary. So I hope everyone is well and no one was hurt. No, we're in hurricane season for those of you who are based in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. So again, I hope nothing comes your way. I know we had an early hurricane some weeks back. Hopefully we don't get another hurricane. For those of you who are based in Florida, I've been alerted today that you guys are on hurricane watch. So I hope if there is a hurricane, I hope that it passes by and you guys remain in good health. And that is what I have to say to you guys before I dive right into my show. You know, I don't like my comment section quiet, so do get comfortable with the comment section. Seems like you guys are sleeping on me. Biru Golden, did I pronounce your name correctly? I think this is my first time seeing you on the channel. Welcome. If it is your first time, I do hope that it isn't your loss. I hope that you guys have been kind to me and hit the like button without me asking. Let's go ahead and see if you guys have done so. A few of you have hit the like button, but a few isn't good enough. So if you haven't hit the like button, do go ahead and do exactly that. I'm looking to wrap this one up in about, let's call it 30 minutes or possibly less, because I don't have much to say. I'm going to be summarizing the last two games there for you guys. Let me go ahead and bring something up on screen for those of you who are wondering as it relates to last night's result. Let's go ahead and get the big man up on the screen there for you. That is Mr. Michail Antonio, the match winner. I think we can maybe share this achievement with, aside from the whole team. Of course, Michail Antonio gave us the crucial points that we needed, the 3 points. But I think also it's fair to say our goalkeeper, our captain, Mr. Andre Blake, also played a role in helping Michail Antonio and Steve McClaren secure the all-important points against Honduras. So we're going to be getting into that. My headline, I did have my headline up temporarily. If you don't want to read it, I'll go ahead and read it for you. It says, Antonio worth the gamble. Let me know if you guys agree with me in the comment section. And I'm saying he is worth the gamble here, guys. I'm going to try and put things into context for you. I was chatting with a couple of my subscribers last night, my heroes from last night, that is. Good day, Mr. Devon Porter. I hope you're in good health. And although I have echoed myself on at least maybe 3 live streams now back to back, I was still made aware that not everyone is in the loop as it relates to Mr. Michail Antonio. So without heavily repeating myself, you can go back and listen to some of the stuff that I've already said. For those of you who are out of the loop, unaware, some months back, Michail Antonio shared some off-the-field matters with us, some personal stuff that was going on in his life. To touch on a few key takeaways from an interview that he shared with us, I might go ahead and play that audio again. Again, this is all for context. He spoke about the loss of his dear father. We also spoke about splitting up from his missus. I'm not sure if they've managed to like repair what they were going through. I'd like to say they've done whatever is in their best interest and the best interest of their family, but that's not my business, so I'm not going to go any further. I do wish them and their family the best of luck. And as it goes, guys, I'm pretty sure you all would agree with me. Anything that's going on in your personal life, unfortunately, oftentimes it does have a knock-on effect on your work. Now, work for Michail Antonio is the field of play. That is essentially his 9 to 5, especially when as it relates to club level, playing his football for the Hammers. That is West Ham, for those of you who are wondering. So as I said, anything that's going on in your personal life, it tends to have a knock-on effect on your field of play. And that is the reason why I have been echoing some patience there for the big man up top, Michail Antonio. Again, just purely based on what he has shared with us in recent months. He made himself quite vulnerable. And I say quite vulnerable because when you talk about Black men and mental health and therapy, it's almost like a taboo. You know, the generation of yesteryear, they made it seem like it was a taboo, as if, you know, if you talk about mental health and well-being, then apparently, you know, back then it seems as if it was like you're seen as a weak individual. However, I think it's far from that. I think if you have enough strength to speak about your mental well-being, then that does show, it speaks volumes as to who you are as a character. I do encourage people to talk more about their mental well-being, maybe not necessarily in an open space like social media, because there are some little peasants out there who are waiting in the dark to hunt you down. So maybe find your person. I'm not sure who your person is. Could be a partner, could be a friend, could be a loved one. So, you know, let it all out. Cry when you need to. Sometimes crying works. What I'm saying, that's what Michail Antonio done some months back, and I have plead with you guys to be patient with the big man. I feel like at times we can be a little bit too vicious. Sometimes it is unintentional. Sometimes, unfortunately, it is with extreme intent. But I think when we know what's going on in someone's personal life, it's pretty fair for us to be patient, be easy on him. And I think it's fair to say, touching what I've just said to you guys, that with Michail Antonio, much of that patience, a lot of it has come from the gaffer. I'm not sure if him and Steve McClaren and Michail Antonio sat down and had any personal dialogue, maybe, but clearly the patience and, you know, not wanting to swarm him like a bees, I think within context has paid dividends, because he has gone ahead and he has as I like to put it, get the monkey off his back. I'm going to take a brief little quick break there, have a sip of water, and then play that Michail Antonio audio again. And this is simply so that we can bring ourselves up to speed. Hopefully, I don't have to talk about Michail Antonio and his personal life in the next international window. But if I feel like people are being unreasonable and a little bit too overly harsh with him, then maybe I might have to reiterate what I've already said. Okay, so just listen carefully to the audio there. For context, Michail Antonio did this interview some months back. I believe it was released in May of this year, and he spoke about some personal matters. It's only maybe a minute long, and then after that, I will just get on with the rest of the show. I should be with you guys for a duration of an additional 20 minutes, and then I'm going to close off, okay?
I started therapy. In that period, I started therapy because I was really struggling. And how I grew up, it was never a thing. I thought therapy for crazy people, therapy for people who can't control themselves and stuff like that. But therapy changed my life. At first, it's awkward. I'm not going to lie. Literally, you sat in the room, someone's there and goes, "How are you?" And your natural response is,
Fine.
"Fine." I'm all right. And he's like,
End of the session.
So he's like, "So why are you here? Like, what's getting you down?" I was like, to be honest, like, football, I'm struggling with football. I split up with my missus. My football was always my getaway from anything that happened in my life. My dad died and stuff like that. I went to football and I could black it out for the 2 hours that I was there or the 4 hours that I was there. So I was just really struggling. And then I sat there and I spoke to him. And then I'm a person where I'd never cry. And as I was talking to him, I just burst into tears. It was uncontrollable. And I'm not going to lie, that gave me some type of relief, because I normally hold everything in and push it down. And that gave me some real nice relief where I was like, oh, and then like my chest felt like clear. And I just done sessions once a week, every week, just speaking to him, trying to get everything off my chest.
And there we have it there. Let me give a quick little shout out to the guys in the comment section who I haven't highlighted as of yet. Father Bling, big up yourself. Chorus, shout out to you as well. Definitely, he is a problem for any defender. And Owen, love and respect each and every day. I hope all of you guys there in the comment section, a bit like Devin Porter there, is in good health. So as it relates to the man on the screen in front of you, continuing on from where I left off, I think with last night's goal, helping us to get that crucial 3 points, first win the bag for new head coach Steve McClaren. I think with that, it's safe to say that he has, for the time being, hopefully long may it continue, he has gotten the monkey off his back. And I think the monkey off his back came from maybe a weight off his own shoulders, maybe to do his own personal expectations that he sets for himself when he comes into these international breaks. But I think for me, the monkey off his back definitely comes from the heavy and at times unfair criticism from the 12th man. It doesn't seem to bother Michail Antonio much, because to my surprise, I came across the interview that he did a while back, and he spoke about, in the midst of everything that he was going through, at one point wanting to be injured. Yeah, you heard that correct. At one point, not too long ago, he was praying for injury. However, without speaking for the big man himself, it would appear that he saw Jamaica as a place of solace. So while the 12th man might be vicious at times, it clearly is perhaps water off a duck's back when it comes to Michail Antonio. It's kind of strange the criticism that's come his way. I think, again, when you look at things with context pertaining to his personal life and how that might affect his work balance, over the last 2 games in which we have scored, he's either been the lone goal scorer or he has been the man to win us the match. Yes, on last night's occasion, he scored the winning goal. But in fairness, also the skipper, the captain, Andre Blake, helped to get us over the line. So I think you can share the applause between much to Michail Antonio, but also credit to Andre Blake as well. Saying that to say he has given us some clutch moments despite all that he's going through or all that he has been through on a personal level. And I'd like to say long may it continue. Now, as a collective, I'm still, over the last 2 games, that is, I'm still noticing some individual thieving problems. And it does irritate me because, as I've said on previous live stream, I'm at my wit's end. So might sound a little bit harsh, but at this point, I personally believe if you're not the one to take us forward, then do expect yourself to be dropped. If Steve McClaren is going to be as ruthless as he was with when he took over the Three Lions, the senior men's England national team, that is, then you should potentially expect yourself to be dropped like bad habits. Whether or not he might have to take back his chat as he did when he had to recall David Beckham, that remains to be seen. But I think, in fairness, on observation over the last 2 games, yes, we've had some players who are bouncing back from injuries. Some are dealing with personal issues. Others, I think, I'm not going to make excuses for them because I think that they are subpar at best. I see some people saying this was a statement win. And this is not to sound disrespectful to Honduras, but for me, it's not a statement win. If you look at the relationship and the rivalry and the history between us and Honduras, I think for me, given that the new gaffer, this was his second game in charge, looking at the team, again, the unnecessary teething problems, I can't sit here and say this was a statement win. I think for me, this was more a job done. I think it was a job that needed to be done. As I said, first win for McClaren. I'm still seeing some long balls here and there, but I think that's probably a sign of old habits dying hard. Now, in terms of the team staying on, looking at us as a collective, I think we're at a point now where we do need to be taking our chances because if we don't take our chances now, when will we do it? We're trying to qualify for the FIFA Men's World Cup 2026. World Cup, that is, making it the first time that the men's team would have done so since 1998. So it's still, in essence, a tall ask. Casey Palmer, though, I think, and you guys can give me your opinion. I think he has stood tall, made himself quite visible over the last 2 games. I think it's fair to say that he has, on observation, placed himself in the first choice of the pecking order. I think that it wasn't that long ago where he was perhaps down in the selection pool. Saying that, even despite what we've seen from a KC Palmer, and I'm not scapegoating him, I'm giving him his credit as he deserves his credit and his flowers. But I think it goes without saying that it's the obvious that we do need a midfield. I'm not a midfielder. We need a midfield, as in we need to get that engine pumping because I feel like it's not really going anywhere at the moment. I think when we look at our wide players in particular, let's start off with, let's say, Jamal Lowe. I think maybe if I'm focusing heavily on the Cuba match, I think what was needed from him is the goals needed to come. I think if he's going to be shoving Leon Bailey to the bench, then his presence needs to be felt. And the same can be said for Norman Campbell. Sorry to say, if you're a Norman Campbell fan, sorry, I'm not trying to be overly negative, but yes, he did play a role in getting us that the lead in last night's match, and I'm not taking nothing away from him. But outside of that, I haven't been left convinced. I think I'm not sure if he is the answer to our multiple questions. I decided to focus on those 2 players, not because I'm trying to scapegoat them, but the elephant in the room. If those 2 players, I believe, haven't given Bailey. We know he was absent from this window due to an injury with Aston Villa. But I don't think those 2 players have given Leon Bailey much to ponder over, sadly, for them. As it relates to the conversation that seems to be a little bit present. I'm not really sure why that is, but I think it's safe to say a player like Boza, he definitely still has a role to play in the team. I think Boza and Antonio, I think the way that the coach look at them is each player, it's not a rocket science, each player is suited to specific opponents, hence starting one over the other. I don't think it's about favoritism. I don't think it's about going out on the limb and saying this player is definitely better than the other. I just think it's a case of looking at who brings the better attributes, whose attributes can you maximize for the game that's on your doorstep. And I think the coach obviously needed to start off on a strong foot. And I think in that regard, he went with what he knows best. It's no surprise, of course, he's going to be more familiar to Michail Antonio because more than likely when he was at Manchester United, he would have been watching the Premier League in and out. I don't think he's focused on top tier of men's football in Russia. No disrespect to the Russian Premier League, but I don't think that he would have much or consumed much of their football. But most certainly Premier League football, where Michail Antonio is based, he would have seen much of him, and he knows about Michail Antonio. So he's probably going to go with what he knows best. And of course, it makes sense for Michail Antonio because he needs those goals, doesn't he? Came into the Nations League, and automatically you're kind of in the firing line because you need to, or perhaps want to do better than what the former gaffer did. You know, Amir Hallgrimsson, the former Reggae Boyz head coach, he finished third place in the Nations League. So you kind of want to eclipse that with the greatest of respect to Hallgrimsson. You want to do better. You want to either get runners up, or better yet, you want to win the whole thing. And the first part of getting that done is to get those all important points in your back pocket. Recruitment, I think that's another thing that I touched on some live streams maybe 2 nights ago. In essence, no one knows what McClaren's next move is going to be, but I will say this. If this is our starting 11, which I doubt that it is, because this is his first real chance to look at the team as a collective in the national setup. But if it is, then I'm afraid to say I do dread to see what our bench will look like. As you guys already know, your plan A should always be better than what's on the bench. So your plan B should always be better than, your plan A should always be better than your plan B. In an ideal world, I think we'll like to have a starting 11 that has abundance of quality that matches the bench. But in reality, I think it's safe to say, based on the talent pool that we have at our disposal right now, that we're miles off it. I think it's also safe to say, without being too harsh, that most of these players, one of the big issues is that they just don't have the X factor. Sorry, I'm not trying to hear this is just the team, the coach first outing. It's nothing to do with that. I'm just speaking about the talent pool instead. I'm speaking about just overall the players that we have at our disposal. A lot of these current players just don't have the X factor. And you can see that because a fully fit Damari Gray fits into the team like a missing puzzle. We saw what he was like when he joined up with the Reggae Boyz when he made his debut and the games that followed subsequently. He's been the constructor, but he's been the one that pulls the strings. And his drop off due to coming back from an injury. The funny thing about that is his drop off still offers more than most of his teammates, in my opinion. I think he's been the benchmark when it comes to recruitment. So saying that to say others need to level up. And also adding to what I've said, by any means necessary, I was very fortunate to receive a few messages from a subscriber of mine. I'm not going to name him because he messaged me quite privately. So he's been on my live stream before. He hasn't said what he said to me on my live stream, so I'm not going to mention his name. He didn't say anything bad, but I was taken aback by what he had to say. And it just reminded me on the closing of our conversation that I don't know about you guys, but this whole by any means necessary approach as it relates to getting us to the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup, I'm not rocking with that at all. Of course, I want to see us get to the next FIFA Men's World Cup, but not by any means necessary. You know, I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to sell my soul or brush aside guide, moral compass, or for the sake of pouching a ticket to the World Cup. And it goes without saying, you know, if you can't stand for something, then I can't rock with you. I don't care who you are. I'm just not going to be rocking with you. So thank you for that conversation there from my subscriber. I definitely have taken some of the stuff that you've said into consideration. It was a refreshing chat, and I welcome more of it. Overall, though, as it relates to the game, I think it was a scruffy encounter. Think uncomfortable at times, especially towards the latter stages of the game. As I said, I think we saw glimpses of old habits, and old habits does tend to die hard. You know, some of the things that I alluded to in my preview from, I think might have been from the Cuba game, you know, about us not being able to see our games, or us struggling to find that final third end product. But I will say this on a more positive note, that it's good to see our physical prowess. I think that's something that a couple of the CONCACAF teams have used to their advantage against us. You know, if you guys have been watching CONCACAF football, you know that you have to be physical. It is physically demanding at times, and it's great to see that some of our players are now ready to match those physical challenges. This was probably, for me, the most appropriate result in hindsight. I know I was a little bit annoyed with the Cuba game finishing at 0-0, but I think, in fairness, upon reflection, again, looking at things in hindsight, I think this is definitely the appropriate result. And I say this, do hear me out for a second. I think if we had walked away with maximum points, so let's call it 6 points in the bag, I think that would have sent us off into this honeymoon period. And the honeymoon period is a tricky one. It's one that you do have to tread carefully. I think 2 wins in the bag for Steve McClaren. Good point for him to start off on, but I think inevitably what that does is paper over our cracks. And without sounding negative, I'm pretty sure that you guys know that we have multiple cracks within our team. So I think the draw and the win is a reminder of where we're at, and I think it does give Steve McClaren much to think about in terms of what do you want to call it, tweaks that need to be made, necessary tweaks that need to be made. So something over on the Jamaica Football Federation Twitter page. I'm gonna see if I can bring it up. Let me just think you guys have said some comments. I'm not ignoring you. I'm going to get to your comments. So something that on the Twitter page over or X, you guys want to call it X now. I'm still stuck with the whole Twitter in my brain. So something, a post. I think you guys can see this post. Yeah, it's not nitpicking, but it's just one that I don't necessarily agree with. I don't know if you guys can see it. Big 3 fire emoji for the culture, for the win. Reggae Boyz, show the world how it's done. I don't really know what world we're showing because I don't think that the world is watching. I don't think that the rest of the world is bothered about us. I don't think top ranked teams, those MEDC countries, so your more economically developed countries, are troubled by us. Most certainly not where our men's team is concerned. And it's an interesting post there. I think it was done in good faith, but it's just one of those things that I kind of looked at and rolled my eyes because I don't believe it. I think if we're going to put ourselves out there for the world to see, fair play, fair enough. But in addition to that, in doing so, I believe that we need to also align ourselves with, align our standards, I should say, with the rest of the world. So you're looking at standards, expectation, policy, doing what's right, not necessarily leaning on what's wrong, simply because deep down you know that the rest of the world isn't truly watching you, nor do they care to an extent. So this showing the rest of the world how it's done, might want to be careful with that one, because that one might come back to bite us. I don't agree with it whatsoever, but again, I do believe that it was said in good faith. I don't have a massive problem with it, but I did see it and I was just like, okay, yeah, I don't I don't agree with that. But that is pretty much what I have to say to you guys in relation to the game. I'm actually gone for 29 minutes with just purely speaking at you guys. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments section. Yeah, we are top of the table. Thank God. Antonio works very hard for the national. Yeah, and I think he's unappreciated. He's not everyone's cup of tea. I get that, but he does work hard for his national team. Big up Crystal and everyone in the chat. Bless. Big up yourself as well. He seems like he got over it. Who is that? Is that Michail? Blessings to yourself there, hot chili. I like how the team set up, take some extra work off Antonio, make him more flexible going forward. Winning in Central America is a huge accomplishment, massive accomplishment. McClaren made a brave move in the game. Rasta Girl says Michail is a real big man. He is humble, hardworking, and honest. We readily underrate those characters. However, hear him live our greatness. The rest is fluff. Well said. Hi. How are you doing? How are you? Good last night. But there is still room. Yeah, there is. Nonetheless, we are. Yeah, I definitely stand by what you've said. How are you though? How are you guys there in the comment section? Was really hoping to see Russell last night at some point. Palmer and Russell. I think you'll see them at some point. At some point, I think you'll see them. Pick up yourself there on box cover. I hope you guys are doing well in the comment section. I did say I will probably keep this one to 30 minutes, and I seem to have been able to do exactly that. I don't know if there's anything else that you guys want me to discuss. Before I forget my manners, thank you to those of you who have hit the like button and who have engaged in the comment section. Definitely appreciate you guys' support. I think it was Mobe Guna that was tuning into me last night. I think he wanted me to deliver that Boza. I have a Boza content in mind that I would like to share with you guys. And I'm just trying to brush up on an edit because it requires a edit before I could share my thoughts and opinion on Mr. Shaman Nicholson. I don't know if you guys have anything in the comment section that you'd like me to discuss. I think I've pretty much touched on everything that I wanted to get off my chest. What time is it here? It's coming up to 9 minutes to 1 a.m. I think I'll give myself a couple more minutes, guys, before I have to love you and leave you and shut off for the night. Let's see. I'll go over to this and see what you guys are doing. Hey, you guys are well, you're not as quiet as previous live stream, but still a little bit quiet. Still a little bit quiet. All right, guys, I think I'll give myself maybe 2 more minutes of you all. If you have any questions for me, then please fire away and I'll do my best to answer them for you. No questions? You guys don't have no questions? Very quiet. Let's check to see if I have questions elsewhere on my socials. Maybe I do. No questions, guys? Actually, let me go ahead and look at something relevant to you guys. Because even I don't know the answer to this. So let me go ahead and oh, so the October fixture, we're looking at Nicaragua and Honduras. Those are our 2 next games. Those are the 2 final games for 2024, guys. And I bring that up on screen for you all so you guys can look at it with me. There you have it. This one is to be decided. Both of them are actually to be decided, but they are penciled in for October 10th and October 14th. I'm not sure if this is due to time difference. So if you're in Jamaica, it may very well be October 9th and October 13th. But as things stands, based off my location, Google is saying October 10th to be decided and October 14th to be decided. And the game against Honduras there in match day 4 of 6 will be our final outing for 2024 until we face off against British Virgin Islands in 2025. And that is way in June again to be decided. And then we have another fixture there against Guatemala, June 10th. So that is how we are looking. What are your thoughts on the playing surface at the National Stadium? I think it's atrocious. I think the playing surface, the field, what should be a football field, is atrocious. I think I have parks that's locally to me. Definitely my local parks. I have quite a few local parks, and they're way better than the pitch at the National Stadium. My local park is fit for multiple purposes. They have football pitches. They have everything that you can think of. But you can't really compare England to Jamaica to an extent, but I do think we need to be doing better. But in the end, I just think that those in power, they just don't see the business side of football, and probably to an extent, I can't speak for them, but they're not bothered, are they? They don't care. They don't care enough, at least. Pick up yourself, Mr. Evans. Good evening to yourself. Paul Watkins. Watkins, I should say. My apologies. Big up to you as well. If McClaren qualifies the team, what would it be like for him in England? I don't think anyone in England cares, if I'm being honest with you. And that's not to be disrespectful. I don't think let's just be, those England fans called McClaren second choice Steve when he was appointed. So if you're going to call a man second choice Steve, because clearly he wasn't the man that the FA wanted initially. I believe the person they wanted was Scolari. I believe it was Scolari that the FA wanted initially, and then he said no. And I think that was much to do with the media's attitude and so on. So he said no, and then subsequently Steve McClaren ended up with the job, and they very cheekily called him second choice Steve. I think it's safe to say they don't rate him. That's for certain. So whatever happens with Jamaica, I don't think they're gonna batter an eyelid. They'll probably be surprised, or not even probably. They'll definitely be surprised, but I don't think they're going to be changing their tune. They're not going to be calling him first choice Steve. That's for certain. The pitch in Nicaragua is worse. But CONCACAF is a joke, isn't it? The CONCACAF region is an absolute joke. It's not just a Jamaica problem. It's a problem across the board. I think I just got a couple more seconds with you guys, and then I'm going to have to love you and leave you. If you are out and about, I hope that you make it home safe and unharmed. That's probably the second or third time I've said this on the stream, because it is an underrated blessing. Thank you to those of you who have been sitting with me for almost an hour. It's about 38 minutes that you guys have been rocking with me. Thank you so much for giving me a moment of your time. If I don't see you by the week, I should say by the end of the week, then I hope that you have a lovely weekend. And if you just so happen to be with me during the weekend, that is, I think it's time for me to turn my attention back to the Reggae Girls and give you guys those normal Reggae Girls content. Apologies, I've had to kind of pause things temporarily to focus on the Reggae Boyz, right? So do forgive me. It's nothing personal. I do hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. If you haven't had your dinner yet, please do go ahead and eat for both of us. You know how it goes. Always, I am extremely, extremely grateful for your support. Your support doesn't go unnoticed. If you are new to the channel, please do go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you haven't hit the like button, what are you waiting on? You know how it goes. Until next time, take care.
I'm John Barnes, and you're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.